everybody. We decided, me and Steve, we'd record during the Thunder games because, I am a nervous wreck during Thunder basketball. So my wife doesn't like watching games with me and says I am what did she say the other night? The worst human being to ever watch NBA playoff basketball with. So
yeah, I got told I was scary in the fourth quarter as I was streaming the other night. So that's okay.
Yeah.
Life goes on. But I'll tell you who's also scary, Jeremy. That's your Oklahoma Sooners hosting their softball regional again this week for the I don't know, is umpteenth a real term? So we'll say the umpteenth time in a row. So Jeremy and I really just wanted to hop on here. We're going to talk a little softball. If you were wanting to come on here to see what we thought about the win totals and all that stuff that came out this week, we're going to get more into that stuff as we get into the heat of the summer, literally and figuratively. But we just wanted to talk a little bit of softball regionals. So, Jeremy, since you're wearing a Rawlings shirt, why don't you go ahead and get us started a little bit here?
Yeah, and I took off my Rawlings Tigers hat because it's orange. And I'm like, if I get on a Sooner cast wearing orange, then people are going to lose their crap. I thought it was very funny that after all the crap that was talked about OU softball, we ended up being in number 2 overall seed and could have very well been the number 1 overall seed, I think, if we'd have played the SEC title game. But I've had a lot of people ask me why they would just like co-champions. I think they came together and they said, you two are going to be 1 and 2 seed. So do you guys want to play to see who's going to be, or do you just want to just do that and be done with it? I think they both were like, yeah, who cares?
I was listening, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. Patty was on the Gabe and Teddy pod, and they were asking her a little bit about that. And she's like, look, we still got the trophy. That's all I really cared about. I don't know if they had 2 or what, but we just came home with the trophy. And, so she said that was good with her. And what Patty said about it, and I think this is true, that if they would have played that game, probably the winner's going to be number 1, the loser's probably still going to be number 2. But I do think, especially if OU would have lost, maybe they would have dropped because of their RPI. They could have dropped to 3 or 4. So I don't think, no way, to use the Sam Presti quote, scared money don't make none. I don't think Patty was scared to play that game in any way, shape, or form. No. But I do think she was smart enough to know that winning it or not playing it, we were going to end up about the same. Because whether you're the 1 or the 2, there's really not that big of a difference as far as you're going to be playing the 15 or 16 at the Super Regional.
And really, you look at it, she saw everything she needed to in the SEC tournament, and really the SEC regular season. Just the fight that team had, it was unbelievable to come back against Arkansas. I just never dreamed we would win that game. So I think
Jared, what do you think about going to that Arkansas game just a little bit? We've talked all year long about the need of a second pitcher to step up, to be that number 2 behind Landry. What do you kind of think of a little bit of what you saw there of Lowry coming out of the pen? I kind of thought that was, to me, that was a pretty big step.
I think it's a crapshoot every time you bring in the second pitcher, because you look at Isabella Smith against, I think it was Texas, where she just throws a gem game 3, and then she gets rocked the rest of the time. So, I mean, you really don't know.
I read, I think this was in the Oklahoman, but just talking about like the 2 through 5 pitchers, what their ERAs were at home versus away from home. And I thought that was good to see that, we were able to come in and kind of shut that down after a rocky start away from home. Now, the good news is we don't live to Oklahoma City Metro again.
Yeah. Which is really the only reason that we win national championships.
That is, it totally is. It's a rigged situation. If somebody wants to aggregate this, go right ahead. Jeremy and I would appreciate the additional.
I was trying to do research on how we were winning in Georgia. I'm like, we're not supposed to do this in the playoffs. So
yeah, I know, right? Because we only win because things are in Oklahoma City or Norman. The good news is that means USA is going to win the gold here in a few years, because once again in Oklahoma City or Norman,
only leave Oklahoma.
You players on there, we'll be fine there. So.
Yeah, they should move the College World Series to a venue that can't hold as many people and you don't make as much money. That would
Yeah,
probably be the better
because
decision.
any loyal listeners, what do I tell you? The answer to all your questions is money. But let's dig in just a little bit here, Jeremy, of some of the teams. We'll talk just about our regional first, and then we'll kind of go to the super regional a little bit. We're going to play Boston U. I think Boston U is probably most known for the Surrender Cobras that came out during this election show. And as you guys have heard here before, my nephew goes to Harvard, and his girlfriend's actually on the Harvard softball team. So shout out Fenway. But that being said, he was telling me that part of the reason that the Surrender Cobra thing was out there is that Boston U has actually been to the Norman and Stillwater regionals like multiple times of their last two NCAA tournament makes. And in case anyone's curious and not great at geography, Boston, not that close to Norman. So a little bit of an odd pairing there, but they're 39-17. They have played 4 games against SEC teams, but they lost to South Carolina and Kentucky twice each. So that's the Boston Terriers is who that is. So for those keeping track at home. And the other side is Omaha. And no, that's not Peyton Manning's production company. If you remember, Omaha made the NCAA basketball tournament. They're 39-11. Kind of an interesting fact on them is last year they were in the Missouri regional, and they went and won their first 2 games and then got beat by Missouri twice. So this is a team that has had a little bit of success in the regionals before. And the 2 seed in our regional is Cal. Jeremy, what conference is Cal in?
Are they in the Big Ten?
They're in the ACC. See, that's
really?
Yeah, I know, right?
Hey,
vaunted.
Last pod I could guess what OU play where OU players win. I would be horrible at that. Former Pac-12 teams that play at now.
That was a much easier question last year. Cal is 35-19, and they were under 500 in the ACC. They were 11-13 in the ACC.
Hey, funny story. I can't tell you how much I put Arizona in the Pac-12 still. Pac-12's not even existing. I still have them in the Pac-12.
And that's something that's weird because as much as we love to tout the SEC here now, softball is something that's been dominated by the Pac-12 and because of OU, the Big 12. So even though 7 of the 8 regional hosts are SEC teams this year, this isn't something that traditionally, and there's been some good softball, there's been some national championship winning softball in the SEC. Just want to throw out a few tidbits for everybody here just to get a little information about the teams that are going to be here in Norman. Any thoughts about any of those three teams or anything in general there, Jeremy?
I'm really curious at how Patty's going to play the pitching staff if she'll pitch Landry the first game. Me personally, I wouldn't. Nothing against Boston U, but throw Kirsten Dill out there, do a pitcher by committee, maybe save Landry, or, you might be thinking like Landry first game, pitcher by committee the second game, and then Landry back in the championship. So it's always curious to me how Patty does it. It's not like the old days where Paige Parker, she threw every single game. And she has said numerous times in the interview that I will never do that again to a pitcher. So she always has that horse she rides, but I'm curious to see if Sam Landry can do it. I know she has doubted herself, is what Patty said, that she just didn't feel like she was the type of pitcher that some of these other OU starters have been. So I mean, man, I've said this for the whole season. I don't think we're going to win a national championship. Now, if we do, am I going to be shocked? No, because Patty Gasso is our coach, and I feel like she always gets the best out of her girls. So I just don't like how we match up with some of these really good teams, but I don't think we're going to have an issue in the regionals. Cal is really the only team that scares me, and there's not a big scare by any means. So
That's kind of what I think here
really
too.
how I want.
You know, I mean, Cal traditionally all-time OU's 8-11 against Cal. Now that's a lot of things that have happened a long time ago, but you're just a little scared of a California school, West Coast school in softball because there's this good softball that's played out there. But I'm with you, Jeremy. I really don't see, if you were to give me over under on losses in this, I'd probably put it at 0.5. I really kind of expect us to not lose in this regional. I do think we'll make it to the super regional. And to me, the super regional could be kind of interesting because if seed things hold true, looks like it would be Alabama. And if memory serves me correct, I believe we lost that series to Alabama earlier this year. So
in Tuscaloosa. So
yeah, but pretty sure this won't be in Tuscaloosa, but never know. But would be interested to
really bad storms coming in. I don't think it's going to blow Love Field away, but we'll see.
Yeah, but but I also wouldn't be shocked if maybe that's somebody else in the super regional too, because when you're the 15th seed like Alabama, you're going to have a tougher regional than we have in Norman. So that'll be interesting to see.
Agree. I said a few pods ago, if I felt like we made Oklahoma City, I think that was a successful season. Yep. You don't have that much of a turnover. You don't lose that many seniors and just be like, okay, well, we're going to go win a national championship. I think them being a 2 seed overall is pretty amazing.
SEC regular season and tournament champs. It's been a great year. It's been a great job.
To me, one thing I thought about was,
who knew Patty Gasso could coach softball?
Yeah. One thing that I thought about, though, is like, how could you make him a 2 seed? Like, what warranted?
We've won 4 in a row and we won the conference, but I guess
which
RPI
I understand.
means all that much.
People are sick of OU winning national championships. I understand. Like, I would be in the same boat if it was somebody other than OU. I'd be like, okay, can somebody else get an opportunity?
And that was something Patty touched on a little bit in that Gabe and Teddy interview. I think she was a little bothered by it. Of just kind of like, no one's really knocked us down from that perch yet. So, I mean, we did go out and win our conference. We made it, technically won our conference tournament as well, in what 7 of the 8 hosts are from that same conference. So, there is a little bit of disrespect there. And I don't think that's not something Patty's going to use because she will.
Oh, absolutely.
But.
Well, and that's something that I thought was pretty funny. I listened to the Gabe and Teddy too, and she said, she goes, this sounds really bad, but the last 4 years I felt like I've just kind of sat in the sidelines and just kind of watched because they all knew what to do. So she goes, it sounds bad, but I really wasn't coaching. She goes, now I get to kind of coach and mold these girls. So I think she feels rejuvenated a little bit too, because not to say it's a bad thing when you have a bunch of girls that know what they need to do and you don't have to motivate them, but also too, it kind of rejuvenates coaches sometimes when you have
it's a super fun challenge, and I think it's going to be a fun weekend coming up and weekends to come, and we fully expect to to keep going. As far as predictions and that sort of thing, I'm down to 1% on my phone, so I better get this get this in there.
Quick prediction. I'm going to say I think Tennessee's going to win the national championship. I think that it could be Nebraska, Tennessee for the in the super regionals, which would be an unbelievable super regional. That's one I've kind of pinpointed. But they're pitching and hitting. I just think Tennessee's got the best chance.
I'm still going to play. I think I said this last week, but in previous years, if you were giving me Oklahoma or the field, I still would have taken Oklahoma. This year, I would take the field. But I really haven't seen anything consistently out of anyone else that says they're going to be able to put it together in the Sooner State to beat us. I just really don't think so. So
I hope I'm wrong.
I'm going to stick with the Sooners, but also this isn't one of those that I'm willing to bet the farm on. I am willing to bet the farm on that little 6.5 over that was thrown out there for our football team. But more on that next week. Thanks for listening, guys. We did see. Hopefully you did see that Jeremy and I put out our we're going to call it our model for advertising and that sort of thing. If you
Mm-hmm.
are interested in that, SoonerCast@gmail.com. We'd love to increase the production value, just make things better, not only for us, obviously, but to make them better for you as well as we get closer to football season. Continue to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Boomer Sooner.
Boomer.